Grego's here. Time for another video. So, sometime last year, I think it was, early last year, we did a video here on how to remove a pop top, specifically being the Sopru versions, or, you know, like, what do they call them? Sunliners. A few different manufacturers that have this style of pop top. And the trouble with this style of pop top is they are a water trap, and they rust out your roof and your gutters. But anyway, that's all been fixed and the car's been painted. So the thing is now, oh, there's a bit of a daggy edge there. I might bloody sand that before we go too much further. Right, so what we've had to do is, I showed you on the last video basically how to restore the fiberglass and get it all painted and all that. So we're at the stage now where we have to put it back on. So what we've done is very carefully, because it's just the base, there's no lifters on here and there's no top part that lifts up. It wasn't too heavy, so we, being fairly tall does help, but we got on each side of it in the middle and just lifted it over the car. I did put a blanket across the car in case it was dropped or whatever, so we don't scratch the paint. But it was all good. We got it here and sat it in place, worked out where it had to go. And what I actually did when we sat it so that it was even and in the correct place, front and rear. When you're looking for it, you know, how do you know which is the front and which is the back? The lifters go on the back, and the holes for the lifters are in that part there. So, yeah, so they bolt in through up underneath there. So, what happens now is, so I got this sitting on the roof to where it has to be, and then I got a pencil and just marked out with the pencil where it actually sits when it's sitting on the, can you see it up there? It's a little bit high, but you can see the pencil line down there. So the reason why I did that was I know now where I have to put the adhesive, the polyurethane. So I think someone asked me recently which stuff we use. We used to use a Troton, but then it became no longer available. So we switched to the Soodle Carbond 940 FC, blah, blah, blah. So polyurethane sealant. So we use that basically as a seam sealer on the car. All these sort of seams down like this there. Use it on all that sort of thing. So it's like a cross between No More Gaps and a glue. It's like, yeah, it's multi-purpose, but it's very strong when it's set. So the difference between this and the Troton gave you a bit more working time before it would skin over. So you've got to work a little bit faster with this stuff, but that's not a drama for this. So my aim actually is we're trying this method for the first time. Last time we sort of did a half and half. We had a couple of people holding it up from the inside and putting the glue and then dropping that side down, and then doing the other side and then dropping that side down, and just involved more people and a bit of a balancing act. On this time I'm gonna try this method where I've just got a couple of empty rolls of tape and a little plastic lid just to lift it off a few inches. And I've got my line there as a marker, so what I'm going to be doing is pumping the polyurethane sealant along here, putting a nice thick bead for this to sit on. Now it gets riveted front and rear, but I just want a bead of urethane along here where this sits in. Yeah, so I generally, after the urethane has dried for a few days, I generally touch up with the paint on like over it. I use a white urethane, so it's close anyway, but it just needs that final touch up. and I just realised that this edge here, I've bloody must have got confused that it was like the top part of the pop top, which has the seal pressed over the edge. So I don't know what I was thinking, but anyway, I've sort of not skipped a step, but just could have prepped that a little bit smoother, even though it's down like almost behind the gutter. You'd have to be tall to even see it. But the point is that because we go around and touch up over the sealer, I can smooth that up before then, you know, if it has to. But the main thing is that it is glued all the way around. Basically, yes, the rivets that we use, drilling through here and drilling through the roof, that, you know, that holds it down. And we also have screws that, yeah, we get screwed up from underneath. Yeah, so that's what we have to do. I think it's slipped back a little bit because this here pretty much sits against there, so I've just got to work out that. Alrighty, so this is I just thought I'd start the video with what in fact we are doing, and now I will set this up on a tripod and maybe do time lapse. I think might be the go. So you'll be able to see me get the tube of urethane out and then squeezing it all the way around, and then dropping it down. Then I'll be screwing some holes down through the roof, and then putting some rivets in to hold it in place, and that will suck it down even further. And then once it's down and it has some urethane behind it to glue it down, then I put a bead around the outside just with the finger, so that you've got a seal on the outside as well. So yeah, okay, this is how we're going to do it. You might do it differently. You might put one of those rubber seals along that edge, whatever. But what I've found, that if you use a rubber seal and not put any urethane down, water will get in there and you will end up back at square one with rust eventually. So right, so that's why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, talk to you later, bye. Right, we're back. Whew, what an effort that was. Doesn't help that it's bloody like 35 degrees Celsius, which is, I don't know, 100 and for my US peoples. It's just hot, and it's humidity's off the Richter. You might be able to tell. Oh yeah, oh, can't tell from that. A little bit of water in the traps. So, as you might have seen from the time lapse, did a rough idea of what we were doing. And the moral of the story is, probably should have pre-drilled all the holes first while it was sitting flat on the car. So before putting your sealer down, your urethane and all that, drill all the holes and drill the holes to suit whatever rivets you're using. I'm using these ones here. They are nice and long, so you've got plenty of grip. Oh, you're not going to see them there. They actually rivet above that support through there. You'll see them along the front here. See how they're nice and grippy. If you have a rivet that's too short in this part up the top there, then it won't, because there's the thickness of the fiberglass and then a little bit of a gap and then whatever, so you just have it like that. So as you can tell, it is sitting against a bead of urethane there. So when that dries, that'll be stopping any movement that's there. Sorry, I'm all over the place with the camera work. So the idea now is you won't get, the fiberglass will never be a 100% perfect match for the roof. It's only like near enough is good enough. So you have to make up the difference with the urethane. So our aim now is to make sure that it is 100% sealed right round. So what I'm going to do is actually, see the way we did it, we sort of did down the side here, a couple of layers, and then we dropped the back half down, because the trouble is if you allow the time all the way around to put your urethane all the way around and sort of lower the whole thing down at once, the urethane's already going to be dry at where you started, and you don't want to be sitting it on a hard bed of urethane. It has to be soft and flexible. So moral of the story is having some help helps, and yeah, have a second person to give you a hand. And unlike what I did, is I drilled through afterwards. I'd probably pre-drill everything, have everything laid out, so that as soon as you've dropped it down into the bed of the urethane, then you've got all your rivets, plonk them in, and away you go. So we sort of did it a bit, let's find the rivets, find the right drill bit, and so I wasn't 100% prepared. So it's all these little gaps along there now that need to be sealed. So we used about virtually a full tube actually of the urethane, but I think we cracked into our second tube. Is that right? Can't bloody find it now. Anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't know, one tube's pretty close. So we'll see if it's enough to actually seal around the outside as well. So because I drilled after the fact of putting the urethane down, you know, there's a little bit of crumbs from the drill that have fallen into the urethane. So don't do what I did. Yeah, do all your pre-drilling, get it all clean first, then lift your top base, and then urethane around it, drop it down, and you're good to go. So alrighty, so I'm going to give this all a clean up now, and a seal up. Basically, see, that's like, it just wants to skin up hard already, so it just goes off. I guess if it was cooler temperatures, you would have more time to play, so it's probably an advantage. Doing it on a hot day like today, the urethane wants to just skin up straight away. So alright, so that's sort of how it shows how we put the base down. I'll do another little walk around once I've done all that. Now this stuff will shrink a bit, so I always get it all sealed up today, and then tomorrow I will go through and do a second layer around, because this will shrink overnight. So, and once you've got a complete seal right around it, then you're good to go. So All right, so that's what we're doing, and that's how we do it. And with this method, your gutters remain open for the water to just make what, you know, from front to back, the water is not going to get trapped in under anything. So the seal of the pop top, the top part of the pop top that comes down and sits in the gutter, right, that seals right along there. But the point is that the water is not going to start creeping up under the base and get trapped there. It won't get trapped under the base, and that's the main thing. So alrighty, so that's all for now, and I'll put you back on in a bit when I've sealed right around, got it looking nice and neat. Okay, bye. Yeah, so we're back, and we lapped around. We've lapped around it. So as you can tell, it's just got a nice seal going for it all the way through. So it's a little bit fiddly, but that's what you gotta do. You just gotta have no openings, and as that shrinks, like you can see, you know, it's quite thick there. As this shrinks, then it might leave enough room to go around again. So, but that's what you gotta do. Have it so that there's zero chance of any water getting in there, and it's not blocked by anything. So the water can just flow right through, and that is what you want. Well, oh, my bloody GoPro holder's a bit stuffed. Now, on a lot of them, you have more of a roof section, and there'll be holes drilled in the roof section to screw up into here, because this is no, not into that one. Hang on a minute. I think this one's a different design. Yeah, so they do vary between the brands, but you will find if a lot of the ones we've had to do in the past, you'll see holes along in the roof up here, and it's solid timber going up into it. When this was customer did all the rust repairs on this one and put all the roof sections in, and basically we've just trimmed this enough so that it will fit in. So so we made this up here, this piece, and that's like normally part of the structure, and it was just hollowed out. So I got Andrew to weld in a piece up here, this bit of angle, and I've got a screw in from the top there that's screwing down, and that's holding it in place. And the rivets, well, you can't see them, the rivets are actually up underneath there. So that's it. So now I've got this enough now that I can tomorrow morning I'll rust proof the whole car. So because that was all replaced there, I'm going to drill some holes along there, probably 3 holes are enough, and then flood it in there, flood it in the sill area, but importantly, like, flood all in the back here with rust proofing all the way around the perimeter. And you keep on flooding it until it runs down that A pillars there. So yeah, heaps of rust prevention that will stop it from rusting in the future. So well, at least slow it down. So the point is that we're now ready for this to be, well, we're not quite ready. So once that rust treating's done, we're going to lay some cabling out. I got some dual core wire there, and we're going to run some cabling out along there. Now's the time to do it while you've got a bare naked roof cavity area. Yeah, want to get it definitely rust treated, as in rust prevention, pumped in there. I've got a video out already of how to do that. And you want to get all your electrical sorted, so I asked the owners for an electrical plan, and they sent me an overhead drawing of the car and where lighting is going to be, and this one's going to have a flip down DVD player, so when the rock and roll bed's set up and they're camping out, they can watch some bloody Van Dust restoration videos and demop garage videos, because you need to get some of that in your life as well. Shout out to Nick, doing a great job there representing the YouTube. Yeah, mostly works on V-dubs, and yeah, it's good to see other people out there. He's a way more professional, especially with his editing, and yeah, I question his use of wearing Crocs, but my brother is in the same boat. He's one of the converted, so but no, love yous all. And so what we're going to do, because I get messages all the time, emails, text messages, messenger messages, and people just saying, I love your videos, and I just forget, I just make these for half for my own entertainment and maybe because someone asked for it, and I don't really dwell too much on whether it's got no views or whether it's got, I think my top rated videos is like 2,000 views, which is yeah, it's mind-blowing actually. It was never the intention, but anyway, now I get people messaging me, and that was the reason for making this Poptop fitment video, is because someone asked for it, so that's what we're doing. So now we've got this base down, and we're starting to let this urethane shrink, and it'll get a second going over and smoothed over, and it'll be touched up. And then basically you don't see any of that, the urethane or this area or whatever, because when the top part comes down with the cushion on it, it sort of covers virtually everything. So all this work I'm doing now is to keep the water out of the roof cavity, and that will give it longevity. So whereas just a basic, well, they never really had a seal, they had a little lip, side lip there that sat in the gutter and actually blocked the gutter. Like water got trapped between the lip and the gutter and just start rotting it out, and capillary action, the water would go up and rot out the whole roof. But this way it's virtually impossible. You would have to have major leaks somehow on the inside and running down into there. But you know, of course, we're going to fill the roof cavity with rust prevention, so it actually, even if water gets in it, it's just going to eventually evaporate, not just get into where it shouldn't. So the next thing we're going to do is get the lifters sorted. So get the lifters bolted up, probably use fresh bolts, etc. So I will check in back then when we're doing that. So I've got to go and find the lifters now and get them bolted up, one at the back and one on each side. And let's get that sorted, get those lifters on, but you want to keep them semi-compressed. You don't want to like have them fully sprung out, so to speak. So we have a method of doing that using cable ties. So you just want to be able to lock it in place, get the top on the top. Yeah, so we'll have to drill holes in the top and all that, and then make sure they're all sealed up. So yeah, this is going to be quite the drawn out video. So what I might do is might make it a 2-part series, and we will do it like that, just make 2 separate videos. So if I put this up tonight, it will be part 1 of Poptop installation. Now when it comes to, if your Poptop's a doormobile, different thing altogether, different everything. They're built much stronger in my opinion. They have an inner steel frame, and the steel frame gets welded to the structure of the original V-dub structure. Yeah, so completely different, but this is the most popular of the pop tops. So this is the one you're most likely to see. So that's what I'm covering with this one. So, all right, that's all for now. See you on the flip side, baby.